Hello everyone, welcome to this video on my channel, and in today's video I am going to be going through my picks for the England World Cup squad coming in Qatar this year. Now, last month it was announced that the squad was going to be bolstered to 26 rather than 23, so that's what I'm going to be going off, and that makes my job a bit easier in terms of picking the players. And also a spoiler warning, if you saw my England vs Hungary review, then you'll see that I mentioned 5 players that I said I didn't want to see play for England for the rest of the year. But spoiler alert, I've got 2 of them on my list. Yeah, let's get into the squad and see who I've got. So let's start in goal, and I've got 3 goalkeepers. First one, Jordan Pickford. He's been England's #1 throughout most of Gareth Southgate's time, since Joe Hart was in the 2018 World Cup qualifiers. And also, he seems like the obvious choice, and given that the competition isn't that high, he's definitely got to be there and will almost definitely be the #1. Aaron Ramsdale, I mean, I slandered him in the Hungary review, but he's sort of still our second best goalkeeper, so he's got to go in the squad, and he could still have a good season at Arsenal if he even that's even if he gets above Bernd Leno and Matt Turner. And I've also gone for Dean Henderson of Nottingham Forest. We don't know how he's going to be for Nottingham Forest this season, but if he does perform well, I think he should go in, because before last season when he got frozen out of playing, Henderson seemed like the best keeper to maybe replace Pickford if necessary. And of course, you could consider Nick Pope as well. But Pickford, Ramsdale, Henderson, them are 3. Right backs, I've gone with 3 options. Kyle Walker. And then it's obviously down to the 3. But I've gone with Kieran Trippier and Trent Alexander-Arnold. And the reason is, it is close margins, but it's that last Nations League, which I know a lot of players didn't perform well, and England in general didn't perform well. But before last season, I didn't buy into the Reece James hype. I saw him play. Then he played well in that last season for Chelsea. Played fine against Italy in the Nations League, but the 2 games against Hungary were he wasn't very good, and it's small margins, but yeah, I've got to take Reece James out, and Kieran Trippier again. He's experienced, brilliant right back who can be versatile in terms of where he is in the defence. Trent Alexander-Arnold, not the best right back in the world, like some may say, but he delivers for Liverpool, and I'd say he's got to be in there. Centre backs, we've got John Stones, Harry Maguire, Fikayo Tomori, Connor Cody, and Ben White. Stones and Maguire will likely start. Tomori's probably got the best chance at getting starting. And Cody could play in, for instance, like right of a centre back, right of a back 3, possibly even right back as well, but we don't really need him there. Left backs, Aaron Cresswell. I think he's been snubbed for a while, and Ben Chilwell. And of course, that is if Ben Chilwell is to get into the Chelsea team and get back in the Chelsea team and play. We've seen James Justin and the Crystal Palace left back who played in the international break, which had Switzerland and Ivory Coast. Tyreek Mitchell. I don't imagine they're going to break in. And then your next option is Luke Shaw. Again, it's a big question mark on is he going to play? Cresswell for me, and if they perform, then it's probably going to be Chilwell. Midfielders, Declan Rice, he's first name in terms of the midfielders, that's for sure. Calvin Phillips as well. John Henderson, Jude Bellingham, and then more attacking, Mason Mount. Still got to put him in the squad, even though I did say he shouldn't be playing for England. He could play in that Wales game if we'd already secured top spot or even just qualifying. And of course Phil Foden, who I'd still got to say it, best English midfielder since Lampard and Gerrard. And I think him at cam, playmaker, that's going to be a huge help to our attacking creativity. And then more the front line, wide players have got Jack Grealish, Bukayo Saka, Jadon Sancho, Raheem Sterling. Saka and Sterling, of course, are frequent in the England squad, so they got to be there. And Sterling is going to be one of the first 5 names on the team sheet, so and I'd start him anyway. Grealish usually is there, so. But the interesting one, of course, is Jadon Sancho, and Gareth Southgate even said he has a lot to do. But I think I think he's under a better manager now with Eric Ten Hag. He even had spells of performing well with some goal contributions with Ralph Rangnick. I mean, he was nothing under Solskjaer, but I think Ten Hag can get him firing back. And we don't necessarily need him to be a goal scorer, but just someone who creates chances, someone who can get assists, get some goals now and then, and also his pace, the ability to run up players. And that's the sort of the pace and the wide bits, that's the sort of thing that Sancho offers, unlike pretty much the rest of the main wingers that get called up for England, who mainly just sort of cut inside. But Sancho, I mean, he can cut inside, but he can also run at players, go past them, go wide as well. And my 3 strikers, I've gone for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Again, it's a bit of a risk. Wasn't featuring as frequently last season as in other seasons, but he's got great height. He served as a good backup for Harry Kane before, and I expect him to be the main man for Everton. So I think he's got to be there. Tammy Abraham, personally wouldn't choose to put him in given the Bristol City connections, but you got to put that aside, and he's been a success at Roma, and he has even surpassed Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the pecking order behind Harry Kane. His goals at Roma and have been good, and Harry Kane, clearly England's best striker, captain too. How can you not put him on? And my reserve 5, I've got Nick Pope, Tyrone Mings, Luke Shaw, Jared Bowen, and Marcus Rashford. I'm not even going to put Reece James on the reserve 5, which actually I probably would if Luke Shaw did end up not playing frequent game time at Man United, but maybe Reece James should go in that reserve 5, but Marcus Rashford, he's another one that's got to fight his way back into the England team, and if he does do well in the few months for Man United before the season begins, then sure, he could, and he'd be a good asset because he could play pretty much anywhere in that front line. But I think, to be honest, I think there's more of a way back for Sancho than there is to Rashford, who does have a way back. But I think, yeah. And Bowen has looked good in the Nations League back in June. So there's my squad. What will you have? What are some of your other thoughts regarding England and the World Cup and some of the squad? But I hope, even if if the list does turn out to be very different to mine, I hope it's going to be enough to win the World Cup. And also, I don't know if I've mentioned this at all, but I've got tickets to watch England versus Iran, England versus USA, England's last 16 game, and the World Cup final if England were to get there. Otherwise, I get refunded. But still. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there for now. That's been my World Cup squad, and let me know yours. And Qatar's on its way.